Hey everyone, this video is going to be about how I transition my tank from vodka dosing to the Zeovit system. Now Zeovit is a system that is used to manage nutrients in your tank, manage nitrates and manage phosphates. It helps you keep what's called an ultra low nutrient system. Now my system was working well for me. I was keeping low nitrates, low phosphates, but the colors of my corals were fading. And when you look at people who are running the Zeovit system, that's really one of the things that stands out. The fact that their corals just look so beautiful, so vibrant, so colorful, so, you know, many other words you can use to describe it. So let's get you through the steps on how I did this. The first component of the system is zeolite rocks. And this is the rocks where the Zeovit bacteria primarily colonize. You pump it once a day and some kind of mulm gets removed and that goes into the system and feeds the corals. Those zeolite rocks need to go into a Zeovit reactor. And you see an example of a Zeovit reactor here. So you put the rocks in the reactor, you put a certain amount of flow through it. I think the recommended flow for my system was between 80 and 100 gallons per hour. Nothing fancy here. You just put the rocks in the reactor and you pump it once a day. The first supplement in the Zeovit system is Zeobac. This is dosed a couple times a week, and this kickstarts the bacteria that is the backbone of the Zeovit system. So it's called Zeobac. When you first add new zeolite rocks, you'll need to dose this for the first couple of days, but after that, it's only a couple of times a week. Next up is Zeostart, and this needs to be dosed every day. I actually figured out a way to mix this up and put it on the dosing pump, so that helped a lot. And the next component that's required is ZeoFood, and this is to help feed your corals in the ultra low nutrient system that you are going to create with the Zeovit system. One of the things about Zeovit is that it is a system and you need to follow the system. So one of the things they do not recommend is not to run carbon in a reactor, as it will remove some of the Zeovit components before they've had a chance to kind of work their magic. So I had to take my carbon reactor offline. I was running the BRS ROX 0.8 carbon, which is a really aggressive form of carbon. So I took my carbon offline and I ran carbon in a bag. The specific Zeovit reactor I ended up going with was the Skims ZM150 external Zeovit reactor, and to be honest, I do not recommend it, and I wish I had gone with the Vertex version or the one directly from Zeovit from KZ itself. This reactor was a pain to set up. Some of the pieces came apart. BRS was helpful, but you know, the reactor was still a pain. I ended up having to use PVC cement and glue a couple of parts, but I didn't really want to spend any more money, especially, you know, in the beginning when I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with the system. So it was really a pain to set up, and this is one of the drawbacks. I really wish I had gone with maybe one of the Vertex or another Zeovit reactor. Here I am fighting and fidgeting and trying to get the zeolite rocks. It's really a pain every time I have to change the rocks, but you know, I guess I gotta stick with it. So after all that fighting, gluing, modifying, here it is finally set up in the sump. It is being fed from my manifold. It's being fed about between 80 to 85 gallons per hour of water. Zeovit, the system recommends that you do not, you know, overdo the amount of water you feed it. I'm not sure why, but the system really warns against it. This is how the Skims reactor looks as I'm pumping it, and it leaks. Even though it's a external reactor, it leaks. The O-ring leaks. I don't want to sound like I'm really just bashing on skims, but you can see in the background there, I'm using a skimmer, and it works really well for me, but I cannot recommend this reactor. It doesn't work. It, you know, there's a lot of little annoying issues with it. One of the negatives I always see about the Zeovid system is the fact that there are these little tasks to do every day. And I can understand. I can definitely understand. So what I did is I tried to find ways to automate the process as much as possible. Initially, I tried looking into a reactor that kind of automatically pumped itself, agitated the zeolite rocks, but the only one I see in the market was really loud, and my tank is in my living room, so that was not an option. So I had to, my wife wasn't going to be happy with that, so that I had to kind of ignore almost immediately. But the ZeoStart bacteria could be, I saw some on the Zeovid forums that it could be dosed. So I bought a BRS doser, got the instructions. I think it's a 1 part ZeoStart to 19 parts distilled or purified water, and I ended up building like a little dosing container and was able to kind of get, you know, the ZeoStart system on a timer, so that lessened some of the daily tasks I had to do. Also, there are a couple of elements for coral coloration, so I moved from the Red Sea Coral Colors program here that you're looking at. So for coloration, initially I was doing like the daily dosing, the daily putting the coloration every day, but then I figured out that Zeovid has these really what's called automatic elements. It's these medical grade tablets that are really cool that come in you know, different supplements, B balance, K balance, iron, a couple different elements, and they're really cool. So essentially you take your system water volume. It gives you a formula where you have to measure on how many tablets you should use, and you replace these every 4 months. So you just drop them in your sump and you replace them every 4 months. So here I am getting the tablets ready. It took 5 each of the Pols B balance, potassium iodide, iron, and K balance, and then 2 of the amino acids. So it recommends 1 tablet per 50 liters, but it also recommends that you start on the low end and go up if necessary. So I definitely started on the lower end. You know, just throwing them just randomly in the sump, it didn't look neat. I figured they would blow around, so I had the idea to put them in a filter bag to kind of, you know, keep them. They'd be in one place, easier to manage. It wouldn't get stuck in, you know, maybe get sucked up in the skimmer, because some of the tablets, especially the amino acid one, is really light and blows around. So the filter bag still allows a lot of flow through it, and allows me to, you know where the tablets are and, you know, easily manage them. If you need any help with Zeovid, the Zeovid community at zeovid.com was really helpful. So I went there with my tank parameters, what my nitrates and phosphates, what I was looking to accomplish, and, you know, they gave me specific advice specific to my system, answered every question I had. So the Zeovid forum is a good place if you need information about Zeovid. The big question is, does the Zeovid system work? And I have to say, absolutely it does. I am still seeing the growth rates I was seeing with vodka and vinegar, but the colors are just really outstanding. I'm really happy with the colors. All the corals in the tank, including Zoas, Softies, LPS, they're all seeing colors that, you know, I've never gotten out of these corals. the 4 years I've been in the hobby. So Zeovit system, you have to follow the system, but there is no doubt in my mind that it works.